All right. I think we should be good here. Let's test this out. Testing, 1, 2, 3. And it looks like it's up and running. So hey guys, how's it going? My name is Brendan. If you guys are new here, it is great to have you. Welcome to the channel. And today we're going to be doing a live technical analysis of Bitcoin and a lot of the altcoins. This is something that I like to do about every Sunday night, just to get back into the market, see what you guys are curious about, and then answer whatever questions you guys, the audience, might have coming into this brand new week. So it's a pretty cool time of the week where I get to engage with all of you and see what's going on. So let me go ahead and make sure again that this is indeed working, which it looks like it's working pretty well, but we are struggling. We're getting an audio back from somewhere. I'm just not sure where. But I think we're good now. So if you guys can't hear me all right, go ahead and say something in chat. I'm also going to turn on chat and alert box. We should be good to go. So welcome everybody. I do need to do a quick little problem solve here. But this should be very good. There we go. Seems our thumbnail has been deleted. No, it's not it. Let's see what we got over here. Yeah, bear with me for just one moment. It seems that we have lost our lost our thumbnail. Also going to go ahead and put up the chart right here. Should be good to go. While I problem shoot this, give me one moment. Maybe we won't get the problem shoot it. Alright, well, I'll worry about that later. It's not a big deal. So, I want to give everybody a second to kind of join in here before we get going into the big chunk of meat that we have to talk about. Give people a sec to join in. I also have to go ahead and send out the link as well. YouTube has updated their YouTube live mechanic, and it is so it is so hard to use now. Josh, welcome to the chat. It's great to have you here. Yeah, YouTube has recently updated their everything. There we go. We got it. And it is significantly more of a pain in the butt now than it used to be. So I want to go ahead and basically kind of today, I guess, talk about Bitcoin and the altcoins, a couple altcoins in specific. And again, I want to give this probably 5 minutes to warm up to give people a chance to join in here, because we usually go from like 5 viewers to 30 viewers in 5 to 10 minutes time. And then I get asked the exact same questions that I answered in the first 10 minutes of the live stream, like 20 minutes in. So if you guys have any questions in the meantime, I'd love to be able to answer those, but I'm going to kind of just let the live stream itself warm up as people go ahead and join in here and do just I guess a little bit of technical analysis, but not touch on anything too serious or like the meat and potatoes of this stuff for probably another like 5-10 minutes. There are a couple things that I want to talk about today. I want to make sure that we are talking about, of course, Bitcoin, but also things like EOS, XRP, Ethereum, and we can even take a look at the DeFi space just a little bit. But DeFis are there's something crazy right now, I think, to say the least. But so with looking, I guess, at Bitcoin and where we're at right now, I think it's very clear that we're squeezing to the upside. Now, the reason I say that we are squeezing to the upside, and I know I'm gonna have to repeat this just because of people that are going to be joining in here. we can see that the rising level of support and the consistent level of resistance. And what this means to me is that we are forming a type, and not, nothing crazy, but a form of an ascending triangle here. And I think that this is pretty easy to see. And if we want to look at this even better, what we're going to have to do is go over to this 4-hour time scale, below this guy up just a tad, and it's going to look something along the lines of this. Now we can move this resistance line like around just a little bit to kind of like make this guy look better. But this is kind of what we are ideally looking at. Also, I need to go ahead and move this to here. Cool. So what this means for me is that this is a bullish formation and even a continuation pattern. Now, the reason that I say this is, of course, we saw a rejection over here, and then from the rejection, we came down towards our support. Now, to begin with, we didn't know that this was resistance, and we didn't know that this is support because it had never been tested before. So, of course, with us finding where our support and resistance level were, we could see that this area was going to be tested a whole lot of times in the past couple of weeks now. And the same with this support being tested not once, but even 2 to 3 times that we can see from a swing attempt. Now, when we're looking at this, we can see that the support is not only climbing, but the resistance is staying the same. So what this is telling me is that the squeeze from this, and as it's bouncing in between here, is ultimately squeezing to the upside. The reason that this is happening is because there is pressure being built from something like this. Also, welcome Matthew, welcome Laszlo, great to have you guys in here. Laszlo, welcome back. So yeah, what I was saying is the reason why an ascending triangle is a bullish formation pattern is because of the price action squeezing. And yes, we can see that this is squeezing, but most people ask, where is it squeezing to? Well, since there is a rising level of support here and the resistance is not going anywhere, this is usually a sign of bullishness where typically Bitcoin breaks out to the upside. Now, a target over here for me, if I'm looking at Bitcoin for any kind of realistic target, I think it'd be probably about $13,500, which is quite the move. That's about $2,000 to the upside. And if we want to look at this from like a percentage standpoint of where we're at right now, this would be about probably 15% to the upside on Bitcoin to get up into this area. So definitely a nice move. But this would make a whole lot of sense. Now, I want to explain why this makes sense and why I'm looking at this little green checkered line without just saying, this is a line that we need to believe in. So I guess in order to understand what this is, we're going to have to zoom out just a little bit. We're actually going to do this on a 1-day chart. So moving away from the 4-hour and to this 1-day chart, I want to look at the big picture here. Now, I don't know if I talked about this in my last Bitcoin video, but of course we have our resistance starting over in here. We can kind of see that this area had been tested for a while, came back and got a really, really clean touch point up in here before we fell to the bottom. Now, this was our initial start of this support line. So now we have not 1, but 2 touches of resistance, and now 1 and then 2 touches of support. Along this, we can see that the heart line was initially tested right here, and we can see that the heart line was tested again, and then again, and then again, and now we are working our way back up to this heart line because we're bouncing off of support, or we're going from support to the heart line. And in fact, if we want to break past the heart line and go back to the top of this parallel channel, I mean, the top of this, straight from where we're at right now, is like just over $17,000, which would make a lot of sense because this isn't a like unforeseen area. This area makes a lot of sense because this is actually one of our previous swing highs right over in here, which is this low $17,000 lower swing high on Bitcoin. Now, let me go ahead and zoom this in so that we can take a quick look at this guy. But this is what we're looking at over in here. So the top of this channel would make a lot of sense, and the heart line would also make a lot of sense. Not because they are just the heart line and the top of the parallel channel, but also because the top of the channel is a previous swing high, which is a macro swing high, and the heart line itself being at that $13,500 resistance, $13,600 area, is going to be another macro swing high. Now, this one is going to be kind of the final form of resistance for Bitcoin, because if we want to go ahead and look over here on the chart, we can see that between this level of 13,500 and the $17,000 area, there really isn't too much for Bitcoin to handle. There is a little bit of stuff in between what we saw during 2018, but again, if we are to break out from where we're at right now and look over on the chart, and I'm going to show this on a 3-day so we can see this just a little bit more clearly, this is what it would look like. So again, I'm looking nothing, 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 nothing. We have to go all the way back to 2017, 2018, and then here's what we have to deal with, and this is the gap. So I view this as very, very little resistance in between 13 and a half, roughly like 14,000 and 17,000. So that's about a $3,000 gap where there is not going to be a ton of resistance. In fact, if Bitcoin stopped this run up anywhere in there, it would be so strange. Again, I think that is so improbable that, Bitcoin's either going to stop somewhere below this $14,000 mark of where we're looking at right now, or it's going to stop at $17,000 to $20,000. I think that if Bitcoin can break this 13,900, this $14,000 area, it's going straight to 17K after that. So I see people are starting to join in now. Awesome. So let's go ahead and look, at things like the volume indicators, oscillators. What is Bitcoin looking like for the future? Because again, we do have the ascending triangle already happening. Now that we have mapped out where our resistance points are, being 1, they're both previous swing highs, which is also. Laszlo, thank you so much for the donation. Keep up the good work. After your BTC analysis, can you check PNK and Algo? Please and thanks, absolutely. Do you want those compared to a BTC comparing or a USD? You can do either one, or I can do both. So yeah, let's continue on Bitcoin, and then I'll hit both of those guys. So now that we have mapped out our resistance and why it is resistance in 2 different feet, we can kind of understand why this ascending triangle over in here would make a lot of sense. Now, I want to look at this in comparison to some of our indicators and oscillators. Nothing too significant over here. I think one of the things that we are looking at is, again, even this is on a 4-hour time scale, and I want to see what this looks like on a 1-day before I make any kind of crazy assumptions. But with Bitcoin falling off over here on our indicator, on our MACD, and the price action is actually still rising, that is something that is weird. And when I see stuff like this and I see indicators that are falling off but the price action's rising, usually to me this is a sign of an incredible amount of bullishness on the asset. So if I'm looking at the RSI, yeah, this thing's sitting very neutral. I'd love to see what these guys look like on a 1-day. What's sitting neutral on the 1-day as well. And we're looking like we're actually getting ready to round up on a 1-day MACD. 3-day MACD showing a little bit of bearish divergence, which is very contradictory of the 4-hour. Yeah, and actually this even looks bullish. I know my RSI chart is a little bit of a mess. Yeah, let's go ahead and throw this back to the 1-day. So yeah, I still see this as bullish. I think that it's very strange, and we have to be very cautious when indicators and oscillators are falling off but the price action isn't moving anywhere. That's usually a sign to me that there is a trap of some sort, and the vice versa. So when I'm seeing that, again, the trend is my friend here. We are in an uptrend. I see an ascending triangle, and I see that there is room to move up here. The volume has started coming back on this 1-day chart. I don't see any reason why Bitcoin can't fulfill this ascending triangle and move back up. Now, measured move for me is going to be 15% to the upside. It's going to be right at that previous macro swing high of about $13,500 to $14,000. That's going to be my price trajectory. This isn't something that I think is going to happen overnight. It's not something that's going to happen today or a week from now, maybe not even a month from now. This is going to take time, and I think when people think about Bitcoin projections and price predictions, they do it in an unrealistic manner. Where yes, we do go parabolic, and once we break out of this, if we break out of this, you're going to see an initial parabolic breakout. I mean, that's just the nature of Bitcoin. But I don't think it's going to be one of these one-day candles where we just go straight to 13K or 14K. I think it's going to be a little bit more methodical, which is perfect. That's actually a better thing to happen on Bitcoin than if it was to just go straight up here. Now, unless you are just selling up here and you think that is your take profit area, otherwise this is very significant. Now, the reason that I say this is because when we go parabolic like this, we don't set any support for ourselves. So what we did over here is we ripped through previous high, came back, retested it as support, not once, but twice. We can see once right here and once right here, which is a great sign of strength on Bitcoin. Now, after testing support, it retraced back up 100%, almost 100%. I don't know what this was, like 95% back up of a retrace. Which is not a dead cat bounce, and I think that's the one important thing that really signified to me, is that this wasn't a dead cat bounce because it retraced 100%. And if something is retracing 100% off of its high, it's probably going to continue in a direction. So that is that. Indicator, or the EMAs, the 50 and the 200, both are still pointing upwards on a daily time scale. They're pointing upwards on a 3-day, and on the 4-hour, they are pointing upwards as well. So nothing to worry about as of right now. Now, if these guys start breaking and they start pointing downwards and we're looking like we're going to have a death cross on the 4-hour, that's where I would start to be a little bit more skeptical. But again, so long as the trend is pointing upwards, and I'm still seeing signs of bullishness, I don't really have any reason to be trying to short the top and trying to catch the perfect short entry. I just think that is so much more risky. So that's the way that I'm viewing Bitcoin. Let's take a quick break from Bitcoin and come back to it in just a second. Let's go ahead and look at PNK to the USD. And that's not PNK. And then we're also going to look at Algo to the USD. And then we'll come back and we'll do Bitcoin and Ethereum in just a second. So, yeah, I think actually, yeah, what we'll do is after we do these, we'll go back to Ethereum. We'll do Ethereum. Then we'll go back to Bitcoin. And we can start taking requests after that. So if you guys have any requests or questions, drop those in the chat. So first thing that I see here, Laszlo, is that this is a low, what's the word? Not low, I guess technically low volume. It's illiquid. I think that's a better word of it. So this chart's pretty hard to read because of the fact that it's a little bit illiquid. I'm guessing that it is a little bit lower on the side of a altcoin market cap. Great run up so far. I mean, geez, what a month for this. What is this up? 560% or something? 550%? Geez. Yeah, that's great. I mean, what is this on a 4-hour? It's kind of hard to read a chart like this because it's just going parabolic. What I am noticing is that it had a nice bounce and a nice retrace. It did not retrace back to the high. It could keep going. I think the question that I have for this is this a DeFi coin or is it not a DeFi coin? If it's a DeFi coin, that changes the chart because DeFi coins, are in their own kind of space right now and how they work. Also, Bill Chen, welcome. It is a DeFi? Yeah, okay, so that would make sense. So you have to be careful with DeFis right now. DeFis are exploding like the altcoin boom of 2017, 2018. You have to... I don't want to say you have to be careful. I think everything that DeFi is doing, or not everything, but most things that DeFis are doing are really, really good. I love the idea of decentralized finance and being able to earn like dividends of sorts or interest on investments. I love that idea. But I think that we have to be careful here because while DeFi is great, there's only going to be so many DeFis that are going to like stay the long term. There were a lot of cryptocurrencies that came around in that 2017 area, beginning of 2018. They rocketed up like this. But at the end of the day, there can only be so many cryptocurrencies. There can really only be so many projects that do a specific task. You know, there aren't 100 Amazons, there aren't 100 Apples. You have a couple big ones and you have a couple names here and there. Yeah, you might have like 10 of them, but at the end of the day, you're not going to have 100. And now the big thing to do is create a DeFi coin, list it, and then all of a sudden you start seeing it everywhere. You get a couple influencers to talk about it. Just be careful with anything in the DeFi space right now. Some of them are great projects that are going to be here to stay. I don't know anything about PNK. Yeah, I can talk about XRP. I don't know anything about PNK, but I can tell you right now that from a chart like this, there's not too much to say besides watch the 50 EMA on this 4-hour chart. It looks like it really likes it. And so what I mean by that is that we are bouncing off of this all the way up. So we can see, you know, came here, bounced, you know, it's literally just bouncing off this guy the entire way up. So I would imagine that, you know, when this starts breaking, I would be a little bit more concerned. And I would watch this a little bit more clearly. I want to look at this on a 1 day. But yeah, I mean, for right now, the chart's just parabolic. When things do go parabolic and it rips past like any form of resistance that it has over in here, there's nothing for me to really compare it to. And the MACD on the 1 day chart looks like it is starting to fall off. And the RSI is starting to fall off as well, just breaching back into that neutral territory, just barely. Keep an eye on it. There's no like, I hate to say it, but there's no straight up answer of like, this is what I expect to happen. It looks like it wants to retrace, but everything in the DeFi space looks like that, and it just keeps ripping. So, what was the other one that you had, Laszlo? Is Algo. Algo USD. Is this another DeFi coin, by the way? Just so I, oh yeah, this is cool. So this is a lot more liquid, so we can look at things over in here. So first thing that I see over in here is a great little support line that is coming up. You broke through previous swing highs, which is really good. Next target for this guy is going to be, you kind of came up and you didn't even touch it yet, actually. So let's go ahead and draw this out. I'm going to go ahead and leave this here so that we can see where our next form of major resistance is going to be. So if we're going to go up from where we're at right now, I think something that you could very well see as possible is, and actually there's one more line we need to talk about, and it is this guy. So these are going to be the levels that I see for Algo. So this is obviously the previous swing high up in here, and then after this you had it come down, bottom off of here, come down, test it, break through it, and then use it as resistance. So what was previously support, now turn resistance, will now be support again. So if Algo wants to come down and retrace to anywhere, I would expect it to come down to this like this area right here. What is this, like 0.531? Come down into this area, use this guy as support, and then head back up. Now, the next level that I see as resistance for this guy is the upper levels of like 88 cents, somewhere around that 88 cents, 90 cents area. Anywhere really between 85 and 90 cents is going to be your next major area of resistance for Algo. Volume's climbing on this 1 day chart also, which is a good sign. You can see over in here, volume is definitely climbing upwards. Starting to fall off, you're going to see a little bit of selling pressure right now. RSI is pretty high up for a 1 day chart. No lower swing high yet, which is a good sign. Good levels of strength over here. Just literally just climbing. So you had your swing low, higher swing low, higher swing low, higher swing low, climbing. At some point, obviously, this is going to have to correct. But this is a good sign from a good, healthy chart for something that does something like this. I can tell you that I like this chart a whole lot more than I like the PNK chart. So let's move this back to a 4 hour. I don't see any kind of like obvious bull flag, bear flag, anything like that. I think that this is much like the silver chart right now. Also, welcome, guys, if you guys are just now joining in. Mark, great to have you. And Cora, great to have you. It's on Coinbase, not a DeFi, I think. Okay, cool. Could you look at Link? Yeah, we can look at Link. I think after this, we're going to do XRP. And then we can do Link. And we're going to do Ethereum at some point. But, Laszlo, what I was saying is this looks very eerily similar to the silver chart. Like the actual like metal silver, in the sense that this thing went very, very parabolic, and at some point it has to retrace and come back down here. Now when it's bouncing, we'll have to see. Again, I don't see any kind of like an obvious bull flag, an obvious bear flag. I think that what this was is just, it just went up so much, it had to pull back and retrace at some point, and that's kind of what I see this as. Let's see actually how much this thing... Yeah, like 170%, yeah. So it's very, very similar to silver, 170%. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's retracing. I think that it has potential back down to this like 52, 53 area, somewhere around this. And doesn't have to, but if it was going to, I think that that would be the most textbook solution for it. So overall on this guy, I like this a lot more than I like P and K. I have never heard of Algo before, and I don't know anything about them, like the fundamentals, but they're on Binance and they're on Coinbase as well. So, and they're on Kraken, Bittrex, HitBTCs, yeah. So they're on a bunch of exchanges, so obviously they're a pretty big deal. I just have never looked into them. All right, what do we got? We got XRP. Is that what we had next? XRP? Yeah, I think so. Laszlo, I hope that answers your question. If not, if you have any other questions, just shoot them in chat, and I'd love to answer those for you. All right, let's look at XRP. That's not the chart I wanted. That is not the chart I wanted. This is the chart I want. All right, so XRP to BTC. I don't know if you guys could hear that outside my window right now. I don't know. Something just crashed. So XRP to BTC. So XRP is a video that I made. It's a cryptocurrency that I made a video on last week talking about it and why I was bullish on it. Now, of course, it has broken out over here, and this is something that is juicy. Very, very juicy. I like the way that this looks. Now, let's break it down. So, XRP, bull flag, or bull pull, bull flag, breakout. Now, let's talk about why this is significant. I talked about in my video why this was a bull pull. Obviously, just the green gap upwards. Then, all of a sudden, we had the falling parallel channel right in here, which is a bull flag. And I know people are going to argue me on that. The example that I used in my video was to just type in the word bull flag onto Google, and you're going to get something like this. Boop. Now, if this looks just like what we're looking at right over in here. Of course, we have our consolidation, move up, falling parallel channel, breakout, right? I literally just Googled the word bull flag, and that's what comes up. So I just show you that so that you guys can see the correlation between what we're looking at here and how very similar what I just showed you as a textbook Google version of what a bull flag is looks to this chart. Of course, the consolidation, the bull pull, the falling parallel channel, and now we're starting to see the breakout. Now, I think the breakout is significant because people are going to go, it's not parabolic. This is XRP. It needs to go parabolic, right? I don't see that as the case. In fact, what I see here is it bounced off of support, broke through resistance, and now we're testing previous resistance as support. Now, this is a very, very good sign. We have seen this on a lot of the things that we've looked at already tonight, things like BTC. You can see this on just like all sorts of charts. So with this happening, the way that I view this is as like a break, hook, and go scenario. And I think that that is the most probable to play out. So, let's go ahead and actually just go through a full breakdown. So we went from resistance to or actually we went from resistance to support to resistance to support to resistance, support, resistance, support, breakout, hooking on resistance, and then a go. So the way that I view this is it's called the break, and then the retest, and then the go. So break, hook, and go is a very, very common thing that you're going to see in cryptocurrency, especially in mainstream cryptocurrencies, Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, pretty much anything that's in like the top 10, 15. It's going to be a pretty common reoccurring factor that you're just going to have to look at. So let's let me read through chat real fast. Yeah, after this we have Link. What website / apps are you using for these charts? I'm using TradingView. I have a paid version of it. There are like 3 tiers of the paid version. I think I have the tier 2 of it. Love the live streams. Thank you. Ethan says, do more P&K. We can take a look at P&K again. We have Link and Ethereum to do, but then we can make our way back. Hey, can you explain the CME gap for Bitcoin? I'm a new trader. P&K soon. Star Wars, welcome back. It's been a while, my dude. Yeah, so let's finish up XRP, and then we can explain the CME gap for Bitcoin, because that's something I get asked about all the time from both experienced and unexperienced traders. So let's go ahead and finish up XRP. So with XRP, I already explained the textbook bull flag, the textbook break, hook, and go, and what I see and what I'm expecting over here. On top of the textbook bull pull, bull flag, break, hook, and go, we also have the 50 EMA that's just being beautiful for the moment right now. Of course, we're bouncing all off of this thing. And the thing that I really like to see is that we're not bouncing off of this with candle body closings. We're actually coming down, wicking it, immediately getting bought back up, and then closing above the 50 EMA. Now, that is another really, really good sign for me. Also, MACD's falling. Price action really isn't going anywhere. Same thing with the RSI. This thing came back all the way down to like 37. And when was this, actually? Let's take a look. Yeah, so I mean, this thing came back all the way down to 37, and price action did move a little bit, but again, this isn't anything significant. We're still very, very neutral, and what this does is create an opportunity, in my opinion, for us to continue moving to the upside now that we have kind of reset, or really hit that reset button. We've consolidated and kind of collected ourselves for, I think, what we are preparing to do. Now, let's go ahead and move this to a one-day chart and talk about areas of support and resistance for Bitcoin. Kind of checking out these guys. All right. So obviously, XRP did not hit its previous high. I was a little bit surprised. Actually, I want to say I'm surprised. That's a pretty big move. If XRP wanted to go to... That's the wrong tool. If XRP wanted to go all the way, I mean, this would have been a 157% move to the upside. So I wasn't fully expecting it to just recover and immediately go to the previous swing highs. I think the fact that it is doing this consolidation bull flag, creating support scenario, is still a very, very good thing to see. So with XRP having this previous high anywhere between like 33 and 35 cents, that's clearly going to be the next level of main resistance for XRP. Yes, it does have to get through the previous high of like 32 cents. I don't really think that that's going to be a problem. Maybe this all fails. Maybe some sort of news comes out and is a catalyst for this to head back down. But for the time being of how I see this, again, I see this as a bullish chart, and I don't have any reason yet to believe that this whole trend has reversed. And yeah, I'm not trying to jump the gun and get on the short train before I have any significant reason to believe that I should be doing that. Other than that, for XRP, we have resistance at that 33 to 35 area that I talked about. After that, it's going to be up at like 38, 39. And then you're going to have more resistance up towards 50 cents. Now, good news about XRP for all you big XRP fans. We actually can't view it on this chart. So what we'll do is we'll move this over to Bitfinex. And we'll talk about it. Now, the good news about this is that after it breaks... we're still... There we go. After it breaks this resistance at 50 cents... We actually need to move this to a 3-day. it has the potential to start moving pretty rapidly because the bulk of the resistance from the last like 1 to 2 years are all in between, are all pretty much from like 50 cents and over. I mean, you get rid of 50 cents and you break over this, you have everything up into the point of like 2018 just wiped away. You have broken above of most of 2018, all of 2019, and all of 2020 if you can clear 50 cents. Now, as we're looking in this box, of course, we can see that there is a lot of candle formations that we have to break through in order to get there. And I think that the most notable one right now is, as I'm sure you guys have seen this already, is this resistance line. Now, this is a very, very strong previous support now turned into resistance. I mean, we can see that this guy was tested, and depending on how you want to draw this and extend this relative area, and I say this as a relative area because we can see that came over here, bounced so many different times over the course of months. I think it was like a half a year. It was bouncing off of this area until it finally came over here, bounced again, then tested, rejected this area, rejected it again, came up over here, broke through it, had that fake out. I think what you saw was like a piercing candle action over the course of like 2 days where it ripped through it and immediately just tanked back down. Basically, the whole point of, not to get too sidetracked, sorry, I lose myself in doing this sometimes, but not to get too sidetracked, but the point that I'm trying to make is that this has been a very significant level of XRP for like 3 years now. Whether we used it as support or whether we used it as resistance, this is a very significant point, excuse me, that XRP has to break. And that's what we're seeing a little bit of struggle with right now. And in fact, we did see rejections from this 3-day 200 EMA. Right over in here, we saw a rejection from it again, but now, much like the break hook and go that I'm looking at, we have the 50 EMA pointing upwards, and we see ourselves not only breaking through this 200 EMA, but it looks like we're using it as support right now. So if you want to kind of argue that this is a break hook and go on top of what we already have, I think that you can argue that. Now again, we're still seeing a little bit of resistance in here. This is a very strong resistance for XRP. Once it breaks this, I think XRP, when it breaks this, if it breaks this, I don't want to say like when, it's not guaranteed, nothing's guaranteed, but if this breaks, you can bet that XRP, or I'm willing to bet that XRP is going to just rip. Now, I'm not talking it's going to go to $1, $5, $10, nothing like that, but I think you're going to see like at least a 15, 30, 40, 50% move in XRP over the course of a couple days after it does something like this. And I think it's going to have the Ethereum effect, where after Ethereum kind of did a very similar maneuver and ended up breaking out, it just started shooting. And over the course of like 3 weeks, it was just green after green after green. And I think that could be a similar situation for XRP if it can break this. Now, again, that's a big if. It's at a very, very significant part of its history. It's been almost like 2 to 3 years in the making. So we'll see if this can break, and if it can, I fully expect XRP to have a royal ripping. All right, what did I miss in chat? Also, I guess we never really talked about support for X. Oh, I guess we did talk about support a little bit. Nice video, bro. Like as always, thank you, Star Wars. Targets for XRP. Did I go over that? I think I did, right? Actually, I guess I did. Did I go over my targets? I'll let you guys answer real fast. Come on, guys, hit those likes. Thanks, Star Wars. Why did my messages went all? I'm not sure. Sotri, I have not seen any of your messages yet, but welcome. So yeah, again, targets for this guy. Yeah, I did P&K 20. Thank you, Laszlo. So targets for XRP are obviously going to be this previous highs of 32.5 cents, then 36 cents. No, 34.5 cents. After 34.5, I'll probably 38. After 38, it's going to be about 40, 47, 48. And I think that's everything that's relevant for right now. So I'm kind of, the way that I look at this, and I think that this is just so people over, you said $10 targets for XRP? I did not say a $10, or not anytime recently. Actually, I don't think I've ever said XRP can hit $10 in the foreseeable future. If I did, by all means, hold me accountable. But yeah, no, what I'm saying is I don't think XRP is going to hit $10 in anytime soon. You know, maybe in the distant future, it's possible, right? You know, nothing's impossible, but for right now, I don't see any reason for it to go to $10. By the end of the day, okay, I'm getting trolled. Yeah, so let's move on and let's talk about the CME gap and talk about Link as well, and then we're gonna move into Ethereum. So after we do Link, we will move our way into Ethereum. Okay. Oh, this is Chainlink. Duh. I don't know why I had a brain fart and thinking Link was something else. Yeah. So Okay. So for Chainlink, let me just. I knew this was going to come up. For Chainlink, there is no technical analysis to be done here. This is simply because of fundamentals and hype, which is not a bad thing at all, and I'm not putting shame on it. But from a technical analyst perspective, this is not something that I'm trading. This is not something I'm going to invest in. And there is nothing that I can look at this chart and say, aha, this is the given factor. I mean, there's just not much for me to say. Besides, it has had a great run up. It's been extremely parabolic, and this is due to the growth in the whole DeFi space. Now, Chainlink is the king of DeFi. It is, I think, the #1 altcoin by market cap in the DeFi space. It's been around. It's one of the longest that has been around and been doing what the entire DeFi space is already doing. It has pioneered the way for DeFi, for most DeFi, which is why you have seen this guy go up so much. I mean, in the month of July, where are we? Yeah. So in the month of July, this thing's up 450% almost, and it's not a small market cap cryptocurrency. I mean, this is a mainstream crypto. So the reason why this guy is up because of the fundamentals, because of the growth in the DeFi space, and because it is really at the forefront of DeFi. So when I'm looking at this, there's not a chance that I'm putting money into this right now. People are going to hate on it. I don't buy something that ripped 450% in a month. And that's just for me. I'd rather buy something that's undervalued. If I want to look at this on a 1 day, I mean, we can start looking for signs of weakness, which I think we're starting to finally see. But I'm not going to be the guy to go ahead and call this the top. Again, I think that we are starting to see some rounding over here and some signs of overextension. But at any moment, that could go away. I mean, we'll see. Personally, I think Chainlink we'll have to see what it does here. The reason that I say that is because this previous candle top could be getting used as support. And if this is the case, I mean, it could just continue ripping. But you can bet that when this thing corrects, it could be another month of green. But when it corrects, it's going to be volatile. And I just don't want to buy the top of something or have the potential to buy the top at something. It's all about managing my risk, and buying up here is going to have you're going to have a hard time managing risk when something's up 450% in a month. I asked if you could look at CHZ to BTC. Yeah, we can look at that for sure. $20 XRP by the end of today. All right, what else do we got? I wouldn't say Chainlink is bearish. You said, I would say Chainlink is in a bearish wedge on a smaller time frame. Okay, here's what we can do for Chainlink. Yeah, actually, I would agree with you, actually. I actually would. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I would be very careful if this 50 EMA breaks and this support line breaks as well. The 50 EMA, of course, being the yellow line over in here. If this and the support line breaks, I don't see any reason why Chainlink can't come down to like 16.7, which is going to be about a 12% drop to the downside. After that, I mean, this guy's going to have room to 15.7, which is 16.5%. After that, it's going to be 14.49, which is going to be 23%. To the upside, previous high is 6.25%. And then after that, I mean, who knows? But yeah, I would agree. Definitely looks like there are signs of Chainlink slowing down. I would be very careful looking into the week. Again, nothing I say is legal, financial, or tax advice in any way, but I am very hesitant on Chainlink, in the coming week. All right, what do we got? Well, look at this. Jeez. That's a 1 hour. Never mind. Actually, jeez, look at that. Just as I say that, I see triple bullish divergence on the 4 hour MACD. And if you guys don't know what I mean by that, this is this is triple bullish divergence, because you have the the bears getting weaker upon every attempt to swing to the downside. Now, this hasn't stopped yet, so we can't really say that this is triple bullish divergence until this guy rounds off. But if this guy stops right here and starts going back upwards, this is going to be triple bullish divergence for Link. And, I mean, who knows? Yeah, but then you have stuff like this, lower swing highs on your oscillators. I don't know. Something about this just doesn't look right. I'm very hesitant. What did we have after Link? Was it Ethereum? Was it Ethereum after Link? I need some water. All right, the king altcoin himself, Mr. Ethereum. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. We're gonna have to do this to a 3-day chart, and let's take a golden look, or a look at the golden goose. So we're gonna do this one on 1 day. All right, so this is the Ethereum chart and where we are at right now. Levels of support are going to be the macro higher swing low, which is going to be the first guy right down in here, connecting to right over in here. Nothing that we're anywhere near. Next one is going to be our second support, which is just going to be this ramping upwards line right now. We're still very far from that, but I want to still at least recognize it. Still in our golden cross. The EMAs are both pointing straight upwards still. And I think most significantly, we broke through this previous swing high, came back and retested it. So, of course, we have the break, the hook, and the go. And now I want to talk about, I guess, where Ethereum is going. And something to note here, this is on a daily chart, and we tested this not once, not twice, but 3 to 4 times over here before we actually double bottomed on the chart, on a daily chart, and then just ripped right through the previous high. So Ethereum is on a tear right now. Now, this is due, in fact, to like a bunch of fundamental stuff. And again, Ethereum 2.0 is coming out. Something to note is that transaction fees are really, really high right now for Ethereum for whatever reason. But on top of this, what I really also need to acknowledge is that this was our previous high from our initial breakout, but we broke through that, came back, retested this area, as we can see, and then we got bought back up. Now, this is a sign of bullishness in my opinion, and why I think Ethereum is going to continue. So support is going to be at 414-ish, 365 area, and then below that you're going to have support at like 325, 290, and I don't even think we need to go any lower than that. Now let's talk about the bullish aspects, because I think, again, the trend is our friend. Until I see a massive sell-off or something that is just screaming bearishness, I'm not going to short it. I'm not trying to catch a knife. So if I'm zooming out over here and I'm looking at this, there is very little resistance once we can get past this point. We've already broken through this former support, now turn resistance area. Now we just have to deal with this guy right over in here. We break through this. There's nothing significant really that I see up until we start respecting the trend line over in here, where we bounce not once, not twice, but 3 times. And I want to zoom in on this so we can view it just a little bit better. So when we bounced off of this 3 separate times, we came up, rejected our EMA, came down, break, hook, and go to the downside. So we can see this with a little bit of consolidation that we have in here. And then now this is going to be a resistance trend line. So if I'm looking at this, this is really the next area of resistance. The next area of like significant resistance. Obviously, we're going to have some like little guys like right over in here and like right over in here and stuff like that. But nothing that's like brutal. We have to understand that Ethereum is now out of everything that it has been working through for years, right? I mean, look at this. If we're looking at everything that is over and in this box, this is all below us now. I mean, the past like 2 to 3 years of Ethereum are just all below us. So now we have a very short amount of time where we have a lot of volatility in that short amount of time. But what this does is there is less resistance from here upwards than there is, I guess. How do I want to word that? We've gone through the worst of it, is what I'm trying to say, right? The hardest part for Ethereum is over until it starts getting up to these previous swing highs. Now, I think Ethereum, this is going to sound crazy, I think it has potential to $800. And people are going to go nuts when I say that. Again, it's not legal or financial advice in any way. But from a fundamental perspective of Ethereum, with the exception of its transaction fees right now, it is looking golden. They have done a phenomenal job in the past 2 years, and its technical perspective looks equally as good. It looks like a full-on trend reversal. It's doing great with volume. It's doing great with price action. I just don't see, with how big its platform and decentralized apps and smart contracts are doing, I just don't see any way, any reason to be like, this is a guaranteed short. Like, why would I short it right now is what I'm trying to say. I think Chainlink might hit $500 at the end of the month. What are your thoughts on DGB? We can look at DGB. So you're saying not shorting because you're not wanting to catch a knife? Did you mix up your long and short? I might have... Wait, so you're saying not shorting because I don't want to... So what I mean is... So what I mean by why I don't want to short here on something like Ethereum is because there is no clear-cut, and maybe I messed this up when I said it. Sometimes I just get my words backwards. What I mean is there is no significant sign for this. There's no lower swing high that happened over in here and that we're heading downwards. Volume's doing great. Price action's doing great. We still are in our golden cross. Both of the EMAs are pointing upwards. Previous resistance, as we can see over here, is now being used as support. Anything that is falling in the price action is getting bought back up. And then you have the whole side of the fundamentals on top of this. We've broken through the bulk of our resistance already in a very, very fast amount of time. And we're still setting support for ourselves on the ways up. Now, this is going to correct. Who knows how this is going to look in the long term, but I think that the macro trend of Ethereum is upwards. And when I say this $800 price prediction, that again isn't something that's going to be today or tomorrow or a week from now or a month from now. This is probably this is realistically, that's probably going to be something that we're going to see in like 2021, which is like months away. But I think that that is very possible that in 2021, we're going to see Ethereum back up at $800. So that's just my opinion. The reason why I don't want to short is because I just don't see a reason to. The trend is your friend, and if I don't see a clear-cut reason, like a lower swing high or dropping off in volume or like double bearish or triple bearish divergence on like a macro or an RSI or MACD, anything like that. But again, I just don't see any signs of that anywhere over here. In fact, I think that we could argue that we're seeing the opposite of that. Because indicators and oscillators are falling off, but the price action isn't going anywhere. So the price action is still climbing, even though these things are moving down, which is a strong sign of bullishness, in my opinion. So that's the whole reason I just don't want to short. Jalen, McLovin, great to have you guys. So let's continue. I don't want that to be too bold, but yeah. That's just the next resistance I see on this thing. And, I mean, if it breaks past $800 in 6 months from now or something, I mean, it could really go on a tear. So I want to quickly talk about my most profitable trade of... maybe, I don't know if it's my most profitable trade of this month. It's a good trade that I made this month. It's probably the heaviest investment that I made. And that's going to be the sister of Ethereum, which is going to be EOS. Now, I talked about this in my last live stream. With Ethereum with Ethereum doing so great and all the hype and everything that's behind it. This is the wrong chart. Is it? We can look. Actually, yeah, let's get rid of this. So with Ethereum and the realm of smart contracts and dApps and everything doing so well and having so much hype behind it right now, if Ethereum is going to profit off of that, I firmly believe that EOS is going to as well. Now, EOS does a very, very similar thing to Ethereum, with the exception that EOS does it better than Ethereum. It's cheaper, it's faster, it has far more activity potential of how much its system can handle. And that does not make it better than Ethereum. This is just... I don't know why, but comments are getting restricted and I keep having to approve them. So basically what I was saying is that just because EOS can numerically outperform Ethereum does not make it better. But because they're in such a similar space and they are both effective and have great working products, I think that EOS can profit off of this just as much or half as much as Ethereum can. Now, maybe it will do more, maybe it will do less, but I am willing to bet that it will do at least 50% as good as what Ethereum's doing because they're in the same space and they have that very numerically strong product. So what I did over here was I kind of just went in bulk when EOS was sitting about $3 flat. It was actually just over $3. I want to say it was like 3.5, 3.10, somewhere like right over in this range. And the golden cross was coming on this daily time scale. I think that was another fairly obvious thing to me, is that not only did this guy start reversing, and we can see that the support was popping up over here, but we also had the golden cross forming, and we were bouncing so well off of here. I mean, you could see the wicks from the EMAs and from support. This was just obvious to me. Now, this alongside the whole fundamentals of smart contracts and decentralized platforms being beneficial right now, this is why I loaded up on EOS. Now, EOS also, in the past couple of days, it has been going parabolic. I've been loving it, obviously. But yeah, that, I guess, is the thought process behind why I went heavy in on EOS. And hopefully that is able to be educational, to see why, or to see my thought process behind why I'm putting money into something, right? Golden cross, support, looks like a reversal, and it's in the same space as Ethereum, and it can actually outperform Ethereum. Again, that doesn't make it better, but it's there, and I think that it's going to profit as Ethereum profits. So Ethereum gas prices are high. I almost had $200 fee for a single trade. Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's really high. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but EOS isn't having that problem right now. I just think it is... I don't know. I think at some point it's going to be problematic for Ethereum because of how steep the transaction fees are. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I don't know. Something's going to have to happen. I think that hopefully Ethereum 2.0 can help out with that. We will see. But yeah, as of right now, I mean, EOS is looking solid. I am going to go ahead and shut this off relatively soon. Maybe we'll do a couple more coins, go through here. But how long have we been going? Can I see that? I don't even know if I can see that anymore. I used to be able to. Oh, here, yeah. So almost an hour on the dot. Cool. All right. If you guys have anything else that you guys want to talk about, put it in chat, and I'm going to go back to Bitcoin. Also, if you guys haven't already, smash that like button and hit the subscribe if you guys want to see more content like this. Good old Bitcoin. Let's go to a 4-hour. Most of you guys weren't in here when I talked about Bitcoin, so let's go ahead and recap it. Oh, CME gap. Yeah, ITSE. So let's talk about the CME gap on Bitcoin. Now, this is something that a admin in my Discord, I think he's an admin, one of the guys that's very, very active in my Discord, his name is Pokerthroat. I think he was the one who brought it up to me, but I don't see CME gaps in cryptocurrency as a significant factor. I'm trying to word this correctly because a lot of people love the whole CME scene. I love CME. I love futures. I love it all. But I think that what CME represents is we are putting a centralized terminology onto a decentralized non-physical asset and saying that because it doesn't operate in the hours of traditionals, it has to be corrected. It has to be punished because of that. And I think the entire nature of an asset like Bitcoin that is decentralized and not meant to have restricted hours, to say that restricted hours is going to hurt it in a bad way because it gapped in one direction or gapped in another, I just don't think it has to fill that. We've seen that in the past. Bitcoin doesn't always fill its CME gaps. So, or not always immediately. I just don't see it as anything that's too viable. If we're talking about like traditional futures contracts, 100% I'd be paying way more attention to it, but I just don't see the CME for Bitcoin being any kind of a significant factor. And we were talking about that when it was getting ready to break out previously, and people were like, but the CME gap, and Bitcoin just didn't care. It just kept ripping through it. So, I mean, we'll see. I just don't think particularly Bitcoin is one of those assets that I'm worrying about gaps on. And I traded futures for a company, and gaps was a very, very big part of that. It was all traditional futures like S&P 500, ES, NQ, CL, things like that. All right. Whew. Running out of breath. When I talk too much, my throat just dies. All right, Band. I've never heard of Band before. Cardano. Let's talk about Cardano. I haven't looked at Cardano in a while. What are your thoughts on a future mass-adopted utility token? Do you think any of the currently present contenders will make it? Yes, one more coin, DGB, ADA, Band. All right, we're going to do a quick recap of those guys. Near Protocol funding just ended with... Also, Near Protocol. I've never heard of Near. Also, I like your name. Vidva Surf. I'm a big surfing guy myself. Big fan of surfing, should I say. All right. Do you guys want me to go over Bitcoin? If not, we can just move on to some of these altcoins. And I went over this I went over this at the beginning. So let's do some altcoins. And if you guys want me to do Bitcoin, let me know in chat and we can move our ways back to it. All right. Whew. I like this. And voila. Oh, I like this. I own a little bit of Cardano. Yeah, I think I'm like 99% sure I own some Cardano. Not a lot, but I own some. Now Cardano, obviously, it went on a historic run in 2017, in 2018, even part of that. What did it go to? Like, it went to like what, $2 or no, $1.30, almost $1.40. So I think it was a little bit overextended over there. It was a lot of like FOMO that caused that. But with Cardano being where it's at right now, we broke the previous swing high. It's a very, very important one. It's now actually going to be support. So this is a very similar situation to, what were we looking at? I forget what coin it was. Basically, we're past the bulk of like everything that's over in here, right? What we've been dealing with for years is now underneath of us, and I think that this is a sign of support. Golden cross happening on the 3-day chart. It's bouncing off of, I mean, look at how clean this is bouncing. I mean, off of this 50 EMA, golden cross happens right in here. And then we can see it just bouncing and bouncing and then bouncing again and then just bouncing again. So long as this thing's staying above and bouncing off of the 50 EMA like this, I don't see too much of a reason to be bearish. It looks like it is starting to squeeze right now and consolidate in its current area. Volume's kind of falling off, which to me, this is a sign that a decent sized move is coming its way. It's rounding off from the downside over here. I want to say, I mean, this looks like it wants to have a breakout to the upside. That's really what it looks like in my opinion. But I mean, one wrong move and this thing has some room to go down, right? If I could get in on a dip buy at like 12 cents, I would feel... maybe. This is a hard one. I think that the macro of this is very, very obvious, right? The macro of this, it's rounding bottomed, and it's in a bull trend right now. I mean, look at this. So I think right now, I think the whole argument is, you know, how long can it keep doing this? And I think the trend of this, you know, it's going to have its ups and it's going to have its downs. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this comes back down to 10 cents and then bounces off of it and then goes to a new high. So there might be a better opportunity to buy in here, which is the only thing that I am, I guess, looking at and considering right now. But, you know, I think that the macro of this chart, you know, it looks like it's bottomed out and it looks like it wants to head back up. I think the good thing about this is that it has a lot of potential to the upside. Next main area of resistance, in my opinion, is going to be back up at like just below 20 cents. So just below 20 cents, and then it's going to be like 20, 23, 24. And if it can get through that, I mean, there isn't too much. After you get through here, I mean, then you have this, right? So no kind of significant resistance for the most part. In between 22 and 40, almost 42 cents, 41 cents. This is going to be a big boy. This whole area up in here is going to be a big boy for Cardano. But support is going to be at like 10 cents and 12.2 cents and 8.6 cents. Yeah, like 8 cents. And Cardano's they've been in the news a lot, haven't they, as well? But yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay, so here's the deal. In all honesty, with this Cardano chart, I think it's very, very clearly squeezing to have I don't know how to describe this, an explosion. I don't want to say breakout, because breakout usually signifies that it's going to explode to the upside. It is going to explode in one direction. I would assume it's going to be bullish because the trend is your friend and it looks, I mean, right? But, be careful. You can tell that the squeeze on the volume has started to begin here. Maybe that squeeze lasts 1 week or less, in my opinion. But I would expect that, at some point in the near future, by the end of this month, what's today, the 16th? By the end of this month, this thing's going to have an explosion in price action one direction. And I would just, I'm just taking that into, I'm putting that in the back of my mind. Because, it really could explode either direction from a technical perspective. But the only reason that I guess I would lean bullish here is because the trend is your friend, right? Golden cross right here. That's a difficult chart, but, yeah. Very, very obvious squeeze. So just prepare yourself if you're an ADA guy. You're going to most likely see some heavy volatility here for the remainder of the month after the squeeze breaks. Bull trend. McLovin. I love that name. All right, what else was there? We're going to wrap this up here. I'm pretty tired here, and I'm starting to mumble. Yeah. Okay, so this is very similar to Chainlink. There's really nothing for me. There's nothing for me to talk about here. It's parabolic. Looks like it's seeing rejection right here, so I would, I'm not potentially. I don't see that as a good sign. It's starting to fall off. It's kind of really not going anywhere. Yeah, it's actually not going anywhere. Still overbought. Who knows? Is this a DeFi coin? I'm not sure. I don't know anything about Band. Digibyte, that's it. Yeah, so in summary, when something's parabolic like this, there's nothing for me to chart or say. I'm not going to pull something out of my butt and be like, voila, and this because of charting in waves and who knows, this is where it's going to go. I'm not going to pull something silly and lie about it. The obvious answer is when something is in my eye. When something goes parabolic like this, there's really not something that someone like me can say about it. It seems like fundamentals are driving this, and that's a great thing. Ooh. When is this? Okay. Jeez. Okay. So I don't like this sell-off that it's having. Although I guess it's done this before. It looks a little bit illiquid on here. Am I looking at the right thing? DGB? Did you buy it? Yeah, nice bottom. The volume has definitely grown. You can see how illiquid it was over in here for a very long time, actually, for almost a year. There's volume coming into this. Consistent volume, which is good. You can even see that on the volume chart over here, it went from very, very illiquid to now it has a good source of volume. I would just have to be careful that when the hype and stuff falls down, that doesn't all go away, because that's where something like this can be a little bit more problematic, right? So that's something I'm taking into account. Also, I don't know, there's something about this that I don't like, but look at how much it got bought back up over here from the wicks. Previous resistance looks like it's going to be support. So maybe it just continues from here. There's not enough information. There's not enough consolidation or information in between here and here, anywhere in this circle, for me to give you like a definite answer. What I can try to do is this is kind of what you can do is kind of just try to figure out where we have support and resistance. maybe something like this. And this. And let's see what else we got. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that that's going to be the last one that you can do, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, definitely looks like it's hitting some resistance, but it's bouncing off of support. So I think that the honest answer is in this situation, I would just have to wait, see what kind of information the chart is giving me, and then make an appropriate decision after I get some more information over here. Because it's seeing both bouncing off of previous support now turn resistance, and then it's also bouncing off of or getting rejected from resistance at the exact same time. So a little bit of a weird situation, but this would definitely be a scenario where I'm not jumping the gun. I'm letting like a couple more candles paint, like a couple days worth of candles paint, and then reevaluating then. So, yeah. Digibyte. Glenn Gray, thank you so much for subscribing. Great to have you. So that's Digibyte. I mean, keep an eye on the 50 EMA, right? 50 EMA on this 4-hour timescale is looking good. On the 1 day, I mean, everything's still pointing upwards. It definitely looks like it has hit a difficult form of resistance. The good news about Digibyte is that if we go back and we look at this from the other chart, whatever we were just looking at, was it? Is it this guy? No. This guy. The good news is that as far as I can see on the charts that I've looked at, there's really, I mean, there's no resistance above here, right? So it looks like, yes, this is going to be a pretty heavy level of resistance, and it wouldn't surprise me if we fell all the way back down to like right in here, which is going to be like 0.3 cents or what is this? 3.02 cents. That's such a small number, I can barely read it. But yeah, pretty much this area. I wouldn't be surprised if DGB came all the way back down here, bounced off of this, and then wanted to go. The good news is, if it comes right back up here and breaks this previous high, I mean, there's really nothing for it to even deal with, right? The sky's the limit. To a degree. Just because it has no candle resistance. So, that's the good news. Awesome. Well, I appreciate all of you guys coming in here. Laszlo, I think it was Laszlo. Laszlo, thank you so much for the donation tonight. It's always appreciated, but never expected. So I appreciate it, man, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming in here and joining me. I love being able to interact with you guys, answer what questions that you guys have before we go into the week, because I think this is the best time to do it. The week's just getting started. It looks like it's going to be an exciting week ahead of us for sure. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too. Thank you guys so much for coming around here. I'm going to do my best to grind out some videos this week. This week, above all else, is going to be a very, very hard week for me to get videos out. Usually I do about 5 to 6 videos a week. This week it might be to like 3 or 4, just because of work, I do work full time, and we have something called Hell Week this week. So, and it's not like formally called Hell Week, but it's going to be a very, very busy time. So, slightly less amount of videos. Awesome. Well, I'm going to go and wrap this up, guys. I'm going to go ahead and shut this off. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in this week's videos.